Working with scrap metal can be dangerous and requires some vital precautions to be taken. Not all items can be processed.
Unfortunately, there is a risk associated with buying scrap metal. Behind me is a list of our prohibited goods, which I'll run through them with you. Flammable liquids, which can take the form of any type of cylinder which contains fuel. Pressure vessels, which are the likes of any gas bottles, which can cause explosions. Corrosive materials, except for acids in lead-acid batteries. Asbestos, which can be in common form in roofing. Any type of explosive. Non-metallic refuse, which is the likes of tyres, cardboard, concrete, etc. Any poisonous material or radioactive material.
Dangerous items, as you have seen and as follows, must be kept well segregated from all other scrap metal to be processed separately.
This is an old bitumen tank using for storing bitumen for roadworks. A lot of times they contain a residue in the bottom of bitumen which could ignite if it was to be oxycut. This is very old and deteriorated, the material is very dry. I don't think it would cause any danger for any sort of processing, but if it was to be liquid bitumen, we'd have a big fire in our hands if it did happen. Fire extinguishers, another hazard for us. As we know, they are a compressed cylinder. They hold fluids, other materials. They're a very high danger in pressing. If they go into a machine and are compacted, we could cause an explosion. If they're missed in the machine and go to our mill where the material is shredded up, it can cause a massive explosion and fire. This and gas tanks in vehicles and fuel tanks can be killers, so we have to be very careful with them. These cylinders are what we would class as a disaster in our industry. If they were to find their way inside of a cargo or a bailed car or vehicle and sent to a mill for processing, the explosion would be horrendous. Even as old as they are, they can still hold gas for a number of years. This is a similar problem that we have with the bitumen tank that we showed earlier. They're a fuel tank, above ground or in-ground fuel tank. If these were to be oxycut with any oils, then we'd have a potential bomb on our hands, so somebody could get injured or a drastic fire occur. A lot of these have been laying around for a long time, have had water through them due to rain and ventilation. They are sometimes safe. They are still a very risky piece of plant to cut. Very strict procedures have to be taken to cut them properly. We would normally put these on top of a load, send them back to the mill to be processed in a safe manner.
IH's scrap program advocates occupational health and safety standards of the highest Australian practice. Before you start your scrap metal operation, IH and SIMS provides training in important aspects of personal and equipment safety.
Protective clothing is a big issue that we cannot send workers onto a site unless they are completely supplied with the right amount of protective clothing.
Normal protective clothing. Steel-capped boots, overalls, gloves, goggles, fluorescent vest, hard hat, ear protection for noisy equipment.
Most of the injuries in the way of eye injuries and burns are from oxycutting. It's a lot of people whinge and carry on about having to wear all the heavy coats and the gloves and the spats, but I've worked in areas in Australia from where the temperature ranges from -2 in the morning to 45 degrees in the afternoon, and being rugged up, you aren't all that hot. So you seem to stay fairly cool because you don't have the elements of the sun beating on your skin. But I'd rather be rugged up and feeling hot during the day than be burnt and sitting in a hospital with 3rd-degree burnt.
Oxycutting protective clothing. Steel-capped boots, leather spats, leather or thick woolen protective clothing, long-length leather gloves, moulded goggles, hard hat, ear protection.
The Australian standards are very, very complex, and for that reason that you should not be able to have an incident if we follow the procedure properly.
IH also provides assistance with shipping, exporting and environmental draft legislation to help ensure sustainability.